advertising their ignorance. They don't know that. You live in a physical body. Now, do you know that you are the only creature on the planet that is totally disoriented in your environment? You are. All the rest of the little creatures are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. You are totally disoriented. And that is because you have been given the faculties to create your own environment. A sheep can't do that. A groundhog can't do that. I got a little dog at home that can't do that. Just you. And how do you do it? You have an intellect. You have intellectual factors. That's the genius, isn't it, Mary? You want to devour this program. I don't know any school that teaches it. They should, sure they should, but they don't. So the people you're calling on don't know it. They don't understand it. It's your intellect that dictates how you utilize all that power that you've got. See, we grow up with false ideas. We grow up, the older you get, the more you slow down. That's a bunch of crap. The older you get, the faster you should be able to go. Because the more aware you should be, so the more you utilize this infinite power that you've got. I have absolutely no intentions of slowing down. I'm going to speed up. I want to calm down. You know, really. You see, it's how you use your intellect that dictates your emotional state or the vibration you're in. I'm shooting a number of scenes for a film tomorrow. It's called The Cure Is You. It's got some of the top scientific people in the world on this film. But it hasn't got a bounce to it. He come and asked me if I would do it. And I said, yeah, on my terms. I said, I want special feature in it, which will probably upset some of the scientists, but that's their problem, not mine. And I want that on the box. I want to open it and I want to close it, and I don't want anybody to tell me what I can say. And he looked up and he said, oh. Because you see, I was busy. I didn't care if I did it or not. And he said, okay. And of course, I will say just exactly what I know. I know that your intellect controls the emotional state of your body. Now, you hear one of the scientists on there say that up to 95% is caused by the mind. I'm going to say I don't believe that. I think it's 100% caused by the mind. Everything in the physical world is a manifestation of the non-physical world. James Allen said, mind is the master power that molds and makes. And man is mind. And evermore he takes the tool of thought and shaping what he wills brings forth 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills. Now he thinks in secret, and it comes to pass, environment is but his looking glass. Well, that's where your business is going to be. Not just the health of your body, but the health of your business, the health of your bank account, the health of your relationships. Doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It really doesn't matter what matters is what you're doing, and you've got to realize that you can go out there and you can do exactly the same thing Mary's doing, exactly the same thing Bob's doing. No one's any better than you. And you want to make up your mind that you're not going to take 50 years to develop what I've taken 50 years to develop or what Mary's taken 50 years to develop. You've got the benefit of what we know, and we're giving it to you as clear as we can. You've got to take it and do it. And you cut all that time off. That's how civilization moves ahead. Well, you are a spiritual being. That means you have all the power and you have all the knowledge. You don't have to get anything. You've already got it. It's simply a matter of becoming aware of what you've got. You've got these marvelous tools, and that's what you're selling. They are not taught in school. We have been literally programmed to live through our senses. We go by what we see, hear, smell, taste, touch. If you just took this This is the only thing, when you get to a certain point with them, and burn this into your mind, your whole life would change like night and day. You would be in control of you and your world. And the whole thing operates by law, not by accident, by law. I see the law as God's modus operandi. It's how everything happens. Not sometimes, all the time. So there you are. Now look it. You are a spiritual being, and you've got to understand that spirit is omnipresent. So this isn't something we're talking about spirit. You know, spirit, and we talk about spirit, we think of God, and we think of a man on a cloud with a beard. Not a woman without a beard, a man with a beard on a cloud that blesses some and curses others. Listen, we've been programmed with a lot of nonsense. There isn't a theologian that can tell you what God looks like. Not one. Anywhere. I remember at a family wedding. It was held in the reception was in a church basement, a little town in Ontario. And I was sitting right across. They had those long tables, you know, and people sitting on both sides, 2 rows of people. And I got right opposite a priest. And a bunch of us were talking. And I asked him, I said, how many theologians do you know? He said, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3. Everybody looked surprised. They thought he was a theologian because he had a Roman collar on. You see? The average person doesn't know much about this. Well, when you're talking about spirit, you're talking about a power that's in everything and of everything. Spirit's 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Now, spirit operates by law. Let those lines represent levels of vibration. Level of vibration are better known as frequencies. Frequencies. And with you, the highest frequency is the spiritual side of you. The lowest frequency is the physical side of you. If you watch this film every day, for maybe a month, get up early and watch it. Watch parts of it that you want to lock into your mind so that you can get up and say it just like I say it and see yourself saying it the way I say it or the way you want to say it, but you see yourself. I went to the Talk of the Town nightclub in London back in the late 60s. That was the largest supper club in the world in London, England. And Judy Garland was supposed to be on, and something happened to Judy. I think she got smoking the wrong stuff or something. And she didn't come on, but a young guy come on. And this was, mind you, this is the largest supper club in the world. There's tables way up. And it was called the Wild Wild West was the theme of the show. It's like the Vegas shows. You know, they have a theme. And they'll keep the same theme for years, sometimes 2. Wayne Newton was the starring act. Now, Wayne Newton was just a great big kid. A big, heavy kid. In fact, his brother was still playing with him because his brother played with him when he started. But when he walked out on that stage, wham, like that, he took control of that entire place. He owned it. I was sitting near the front, and I never forgot that. Here's this young guy, he walked out, and bang, just like that, he owned the place. Joe would know what I'm talking about. That's what entertainers do. They just... They own it. And I never forgot that. Do you know that every time I go to speak anywhere, I become very quiet, and I see Wayne Newton walk out on that stage, and I think of what he's done. And that's what I want to do. I want to own the place. Ask Kyle. He'll tell you. He's doing it all the time. You've got to own it. You've got to be good, and you've got to know you're good. And you've got to know why you're good. See, some people are good, but they don't know why they're good. They think they're doing it. You're good because you're in touch with the God within, with the power within you that's within the other person, and this is where we're all connected, and like that, you build a rapport, a composite with your audience. Then you start moving, and you move the whole audience, and you move them, and you've got to know that you can do that. You have that ability. And it's not going to take you 10 years or 20 years or 5 years. You can do it right from the beginning. You've got the best material in the world. I have studied all over the world. And I have studied with some of the greatest teachers in the world. And I can tell you, the material that's in there is the best material. You won't find any better material than that anywhere. Mary and I talk the same language. We just have a different accent. Okay? Genevieve Behrend said the truth is non-invertible. Doesn't matter which side you approach it from, when you get there, it's the truth. The truth is like the center of town. I don't know where the center of this city is, but I do know this. It doesn't matter which side you come in from, when you get to the center, you're still in the center. Well, we teach the same thing. We just come at it from different disciplines. But we know that. So we work together in harmony. No ego. Just the information. Well, here's what you want to understand. Right in the center is your program. That's where the genie lies. This is not taught in school. It is not taught. In fact, what is taught in a school is a lie relative to what you're teaching. You're going to have teachers and professors say, well, no one's got a perfect memory. Everybody has a perfect memory. There's no such thing as a bad memory. There's no such thing as a fractured reasoning factor. All of our mental faculties are perfect. They're just weak. They need to be developed. I could go walking by you in the street and I could tell you exactly what you're like. Because everything's going on the inside shows on the outside. You got an intuitive factor and pick up and read it. Lady with the green jacket on, what is your name? Tammy? Yes. Now, have I ever spent any time with you? No. I've never spent any time with her. I'm going to tell you something about Tammy. And you go and ask Tammy later if I'm right. Tammy has difficult time sometimes deciding what she wants to do. Because she operates from both the right and left hemisphere of her brain, so she's good at things that are totally unrelated. Should I do this or that? And she will have mental conflicts because there's a side of her that's very impulsive. Do this, and the other side says, Tammy, don't do it. You know, buy it, don't buy it. And when she buys it, she gives herself hell for buying it. When she doesn't buy it, she gives herself hell for not buying it. And you've got to quit doing that, Tammy, or you're going to have a headache, all right? Okay? And you say, well, how do you know that? Well, I just know that. I can feel her energy. Now, if I were to sit down with Tammy, I would be totally tuned into her. All of my conscious attention, I want to know what side of the brain she's coming from. And if she's on an analytical side of the brain, I'm going to give her lots of facts and figures. And the second I see her shift, I'll move right over on the emotional side and start telling her. Well, you start studying these and you'll learn how to do that. And I don't have to ask her if I'm right. I know I'm right. You see? I know she's a woman. And I know I'm a man. You'll say, Bob, that's brilliant. You say? You say, everybody knows that. Everybody does not know that. A baby doesn't know the difference in the male and the female. A baby must develop the awareness of the difference. Unfortunately, at a very early age, we stop developing awareness and we get locked into the intellect. 2 plus 2, 4 plus 8, something like that. Well, I must keep hitting the wrong button here or something. The intellect is what makes it happen for you because it's the intellect that taps into the higher side. You see, every line of vibration is hooked up to the one above and the one below. The non-physical and the physical is all hooked together. There's no line of demarcation. Think of this. If I was to take and put this water in a container and add heat to it, it wouldn't be water long, would it? It would turn into steam, and from steam to air, ether, or gas. But you know something? There's no point where it stops becoming water and starts becoming steam. There's no line of demarcation where it stops becoming one. They're all hooked together. The non-physical and the physical is all hooked up. The glass used to be sand. All we've done is change the molecular structure of the energy that we called glass or sand, and we turn it into glass. Well, what you want to do is understand that you're tapping into no thing and you're building ideas. And then you're communicating those ideas in such a way that it's going to improve the life of the other person. And if I give Sharon an idea that's going to improve her life, she's going to want it, isn't she? But I've got to make her aware that my idea is going to improve her life, and that's what you're going to do. And that's what you want to get good at. And so the more you study this, the better you're going to get at it. Now, look here. There's the spiritual side. There's the intellectual side and the physical. Now, you activate your intellect and you tap into spirit and you start pulling thoughts together and you build an idea, and that idea will ultimately move into form. It has to, because that's the law. That's called the perpetual transmutation of energy. I quoted von Braun on The Secret. He said the natural laws of the universe are so precise that we don't have any difficulty building spaceships, sending people to the moon, and we can time the landing with the precision of a fraction of a second. Well, one of those laws is the perpetual transmutation of energy. Now, that's what Andrew Carnegie taught Hill. That was the essence of his whole philosophy. Any idea that is held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. If you operate with the idea, well, I'm really new, so it's going to take me a while to do, that's the way it'll be. I don't see anybody in here that's new. You've all been around for a while. So get rid of the idea that you're new and you've got all kinds of experience. I had a man phone me trying to think of his name. Anyway, he officiated at Reverend Dyke's funeral, and I spoke at Reverend Dyke's funeral. I've been listening to Reverend Dyke since Reverend Dyke was way ahead of the crowd. And he was way ahead of his time. Phenomenal man. And this man officiated his funeral. And he has a church, and he said that things were not going as well as they should go, and he was inquiring about a program that I run, and I said, you should come to it. I'm not going to teach him anything he doesn't know. I'm just going to make him aware of what he is forgetting. It has nothing to do with the economy. The economy's got nothing to do with what you're doing. I started a program about 2 months ago that I'm telling Mary, you got to start it, you got to start it, you got to start it. I went into, a couple of months ago, I went into Tel Aviv, and then I went from Tel Aviv to Cyprus, from Cyprus to Dubai, from Dubai to Melbourne, Melbourne to Auckland, from Auckland to LA, and then back to Toronto. And everywhere I went, people are, if I could just spend an hour, if I could have just a few minutes. And I didn't have a few minutes. I had a plane. I had to go. But I kept thinking, God, I wanted to spend time. I knew that I had what they were looking for. And on the plane from LA, I'm thinking, there's got to be a way that I can spend time with those people. Every week. And ding, 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 ding. I thought of streaming. Now, on my phone, since I've been here, well, the phone's there, I've probably had 50 new people join it. Within 48 hours of thinking of it, I had 300 and some people join the streaming club from 35 countries. Now, you don't want to join the streaming club because Mary's going to start a streaming club. You want to be in Mary's streaming club because she's going to give you information that deals directly with what you're doing. Today we're in 60 countries, and it's just really getting going. 60 countries, over 700 people. I've created an income for myself of about $75,000 a month so far. It'll probably be at 100 before the end of the month, or over 100. $100,000 a month. I work an hour a week. So, I mean, that's fair. All right? Okay? But listen, I've shown other people, if they just refer 4 people a week to it, they earn an extra $105,000 a year. So I've started a club within the club. Okay? It's the 100K club. And then there's Carpe Diem Club. That's the one that sells 1 a day. and they earn about $250,000 a year. Then we got the Chairman's Club. They're the ones that sell 10 a week. For 10 weeks, they become a member of the Chairman's Club. Well, of course, they're earning about $500,000 a year. And all we're doing is just introducing something to somebody. And it only costs them, see, Matt, you're going to have to start it. You can't get out of it. I'm just screwing you up here. All right. And we tell them that it costs $1 to join. $1. And you can go to it for 2 weeks. If you don't like it, just cancel. If you do like it, it'll cost you $88. Now, if you refer somebody, we'll give you $44. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it? Yeah. So you only have to refer 2 people and you got it free. Now, I'm going to show Matt and Mary everything that we're doing. I gave it to Jack Canfield the other day. I said, Jack, you got to do this. Somebody say, why would you tell somebody else? Because that'll make it better for everybody. See, most people operate as if they have a pie. And they cut the pie maybe into 8 or 9 pieces. And if they want more pie, they've got to take some of your pie. That's the way the masses are programmed. I don't have to take any of your pie. If I want more pie, I'll make a bigger pie, and then everybody can have more. And you're dealing with an infinite source of supply, so how many would like to have a club like that you can add to your little suitcase of tricks? You see? Yeah. And they get married talking to them every week, and you say, how would you like to have her with you every day? Here it is. You see? So it's a good startup income. You can pick up a few thousand on the side. All right, now look it. You think in pictures. You think in pictures. Think of a feather. You don't see F-E-A-T-H. You get a picture of a feather. Think of a hot air balloon. You don't think H-O-T-B-L. You get a picture in your mind. Who's never been in one of our programs before? Yeah. You've never been in one of my programs. What is your name? Felicia. How are you, Felicia? I'm great. How about you? Oh, wonderful. Getting better. Okay. Tell me what your front door looks like. What color is it? White. White. Is it wood or metal? Plastic. It's plastic?
No, it's metal.
It's metal.
Yeah, it's white.
White metal. Okay. What does your car look like?
I have a red convertible Solero, Toyota Solera.
You're a sport.
I am.
There you go. What color is the interior?
Tan. Leather.
What color is your fridge?
White.
2-door?
1.
1 door.
Well, freezer and lower part.
Does it open from the right to the left or the left to the right?
I have to think about that.
No, no, you didn't think about it. You mentally went to your kitchen, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You did.
Yeah, and I had to physically do it.
You went to the kitchen and you looked at the fridge. Okay.
So I had to picture it.
So we know what the car looks like. We know what the front door looks like. We know what the inside and outside looks like. We know what your refrigerator looks like. We know what side it opens from. What's your mind look like?
Right now it's a laser beamed on you, so it's ordered.
I didn't ask you what it was doing, please. I said, what's it look like?
That I couldn't tell you.
You can't tell me?
No, I can't.
Well, then how would you go about changing it if you don't even know what it looks like? Where is it?
I'm speechless in this group.
No, don't worry about them. It's just you and I. Forget them. They got nothing to do with this. You don't know what it looks like. You're not sure where it is. Is it big or small? Is it bigger than the bread box?
Yes.
It's bigger than the bread box?
Yes.
What color is it?
I don't know. I'm waiting for you to
now,
give me the
I'm not
answer.
going to ask you how old you are, but I know that you've been around the park a couple of times.
Yes, I have. I'm 52.
I mean, you should know by now, shouldn't you?
I should.
But
yes,
you don't.
I don't.
Do you know the odds of you running into somebody that knows is so slim that you could go up and down the streets of any city in the world and you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that knows what it looks like.
Then why are you giving me such a hard time here?
Oh, I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm giving you a good time because you're never going to forget this. Now, let's just suppose I ask you if you will help me change the setup of this room. And you all agree, okay, we'll help you, and I'll say, let's go. And you get up and you'd be looking and you'd say, what's he want us to do? You'll say, I don't know. We'll ask him. No, you ask him. You see? You wouldn't know what to do. There'd be chaos in here, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
Let's suppose I say, I'd like you to help me change the setup of the room. I'd like to make that the front of the room and this the back of the room. Like that, we'd have it done, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Because very quickly we would mobilize into some kind of an orderly team, and we'd have everything at that side of the room. Because we're all operating the same picture. What did Solomon say? Where there is no vision, the people will perish. Now, when you start thinking about the mind, if you haven't got an image, you know what you've got? You've got confusion. And do you know that that is the problem that psychiatrists have? I had a psychiatrist, Abdullah, who came from Saudi Arabia to our last matrix program in Toronto. He had been a psychiatrist for 16 years, been in practice for 16 years. He said, I have learned more about the mind from you in the last 16 weeks. He told the audience this. Than I had learned in the last 16 years. Dr. John Mike down in Florida, who is a psychiatrist, he said that I taught him more about the mind in 1 year than he'd learned in 4 years of medical school and 5 years of psychiatric training. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this to give you an idea of the importance of what I'm going to show you. This is the most important concept in the world.